All right. Good morning, friends, and happy Friday. I'm here again. 25 push ups for mental health and a little worship music at the end to sum it all up. So I'm here again. Today, I want to start. This might be a little long today. I just want you to know, but I'm going to start a series of stories that are going to explain once and for all what happened to me that day, February 16th, that caused me to be fired. I have the videotapes, I have the police reports, I have the witness depositions, I have all the evidence. And what I'm going to do is present this over the next 3 or 4 days. I'm going to let you see the videos. I'm going to show you one today. I'll show you another one tomorrow. I can show you the police reports, the depositions. And I want you, as an objective group of people, not as my friend. You can judge me as my friends. That's why, not judge me. That's a bad word. Judge my actions. But as my friends, you can hold me to a higher standard. My goal is to be John Russo, the teacher, and just teach a lesson about what happened to me when I enforced the rules of the Sarasota County School Board. And I think it's an important lesson for all teachers and parents in this community to listen to, because we have unsafe schools. When I'm done telling you this story, you'll understand what I did. And listen, some of you might not like it because it involved me putting my hands on a student. I understand that. I don't ever like putting my hands on a student. But as parents, we sometimes have to put our hands on our children to protect our children or other children. That's the reality of the world we live in. And so when you see these videos, you'll see the entire video of the interaction, the whole 3 minutes, not just the 12 seconds. I'll show you the principal's morning announcement. I'll introduce you to the cast of characters who are in this ensemble with me. But most importantly, I have to keep my Christian perspective. I have a couple things written down in front of me, and number one is anger does not produce righteousness. And so I don't want to sound angry. I'm an emotional person. I get fired up when I talk, but I don't want it to be bitterness. I don't want it to be anger. And I want to be called out on that. If any time I'm saying something out of bitterness or anger, I can see people on the screen. You can call me out on it. You're my friends. I love you. I need you to do that. Hold me accountable. But here's something else. The truth has no temperature. You're going to hear some cold, hard facts about people. No allegations, just facts. And those facts are damaging to those people. And that's why people sometimes don't like hearing the truth. So for my own mental health, John Russo, Mr. Russo, the social studies teacher, needs to tell you the story of what happened to me so that I can just unload this and be done with it. Because I need to be done with this. I am fired. I lost my teaching career. I accept that. But what I don't accept is the people who did this to me are still in employment and still creating unsafe situations. I don't care if there's any consequences for these people. That's somebody else to decide. I just want these people held accountable for their actions. And I have 5 children. 4 of them graduated from Sarasota County Public Schools. I have a 5th one there. My child's not safe with the attitude that the Sarasota County School Board has. And so that's my goal, to be able to explain to you what happened. So today, I'm going to start with introducing you to a couple of characters in my story. And it's going to be Principal Matthew Gruel and SRO Todd Perna, who was a Sarasota Police Department police officer stationed on our campus during the school year. And I want to talk to you about the involvement of these 2 individuals, and I want to just do it calmly and factually like I would do with my students teaching a lesson. Okay, so we're going to start with context when we begin my story. And the context is, it's the day after the Parkland shooting. Just across the state from us, students and teachers have been massacred in a high school. I have the book right in front of me. Chris Gruters, thank you. Why Meadow Died. I cry when I read it because I see the same things happening here. And that's the sad thing, and that's why I need to talk about this. My principal came on the announcements the morning after this shooting, and he was very clear and very precise in what he wanted done that day. There was a 0 tolerance for hoodies, and if you had one, it would be taken, it would be confiscated, and your parents would be called. And so those are the marching orders as teachers we have for that day. And I'll end this video by, end this today by showing you that video. But I also need to give you some of the other context of what's happening at that particular day. My principal, Matthew Gruel, has violated school board policy, and he has created something called gradual dismissal, where he's allowing students out early and unsupervised. We as teachers knew this was wrong and complained. The union reps complained. He continued to do it anyway. And on that day, after the Parkland shooting, he again let all these kids out early and unsupervised, knowing he had no supervision schedule. The other administrators were off campus, and the people responsible to supervise, SRO Todd Perna, will talk about what he was doing during this time. So the context of this story is we're going to school that day scared. We're going to school that day not sure what our day is going to be like, because we understand that something like this can happen anywhere. Whew, excuse me. I need to just take a drink for one moment. Okay. Now my principal, and again, one of the things that the arbitrator accuses me of, she says I'm the beginning and end of everything that happened that day. And I'll talk about that when I talk about other characters, but let's just talk about the principal. If Principal Matthew Gruel wasn't violating school board policy and letting kids out early and unsupervised, this student, this unknown individual at that point, never would have been let out early. I never would have encountered him. But because my principal violated school board policy, I encountered this student. When I encountered him, he was wearing a hood. He refused to identify himself. For over 1 full minute, I try to get his attention. I call his name several times. This is all on video. You'll see it. And I get zero response, nothing. No compliance to the most common direction on a school campus. Please stop and identify yourself. You'll see in the video I'm not angry. I'm not running after him. I calmly walk after him to just make sure I figure out who this individual is, because they're violating a policy that my principal set that very morning. Now, when my incident occurs with this student, and I have to just look down at my notes, my principal was struck twice, once with a right hook in the face and once with a left jab in the face right in front of me, and it's on video. You'll see the concussion of him being hit. He denies that this student ever hit him. He doesn't remember being hit, even though the student admitted it. It's on video. I saw it. He told Karen Rose afterwards that he was hit hard and heavy, and she asked him if he needed medical attention. But he's now denied he's being hit. And SRO Todd Perna watched the video and said that Principal Gruel had been struck twice. But then in his own words, in his own deposition, SRO Perna had a conversation with Mr. Gruel, where Mr. Gruel told him he had been hit, and Officer Perna said, whoa, what are we going to do about this? And then Mr. Gruel said, we're not going to tell anybody. And lo and behold, SRO Todd Perna issued a second police report, and he took out that the principal had been struck twice and instead inserted that the student threw punches at Mr. Russo and that there was no imminent threat to Mr. Russo. At that point, the entire narrative of the story had been changed. And all of this happened the next day. This is the other thing. These two gentlemen, SRO Perna and Principal Gruel, collected 15 to 20 cell phones that day of the incident, cell phones from students. They took these videos. They had them in the office. Officer Perna and Mr. Gruel looked at these videos and then called in the parents of the kids and had these videos deleted from these cell phones. They had 2 videos deleted until Karen Rose called out Mr. Gruel on it, said he wasn't allowed to do it, had to call the school board attorney, and Mr. Gruel still had another video erased. Why was SRO Perna and Officer Gruel allowed to erase student video of the incident? I wanted everybody to see what happened. I'm going to show you the video of what happened. Why didn't they want you to see it? Is it because Principal Gruel was violating school board policy and all those kids were out there early and unsupervised and I was the only adult? Is it because SRO Perna was the last one to show up on the scene? You'll see in the video, he was out at the taco truck getting tacos, and he stopped on his way at the front office to chastise people for locking the doors instead of reporting directly to the incident. So you will see Officer Perna be the last person to appear in the episode, and then he immediately gets out of his cart and slams the kid to the ground and handcuffs him. So, and he has other parts in this. After they collect and erase all the cell phone videos, the two of them come to the decision that I should not come to work and that charges should be pressed against me. And they come to this decision the next morning because Karen Rose asked them, and this is what these two tell her. They have not asked me anything yet as what to happen, and they have not questioned any witnesses, but these two have already decided that I need to be taken off campus and I need to be charged with a crime. That's pretty incredible for a police officer to make that decision without ever having talked to me about what happened and then never interviewing any witnesses. So it's things like this that cause me to have mental health issues. This is what's going through my head. Am I being subjective? Am I saying that, hey, John, poor John, look at me, he feels? No, I'm trying to be objective here and say to common sense people, do you see what I'm seeing? Or is it just me? And it's okay. You can disagree with me, and if I'm wrong about something, please call me out on it. That's what I want. But what I need people to see is what happened here. Okay, so let me go back to these two, and then I'm going to show you the video because I don't want to drag this on too much longer. The final interaction with SRO Todd Perna and Principal Matthew Gruhl. After the charges were dropped against me because I had done nothing wrong, they couldn't legally charge me with simple battery because as a teacher in loco parentis, I'm in place of the parent. I have the legal right to place my hands on a student because I am their parent. I am in place of their parent. As long as I am using proper judgment and proper restraint, when you see the video, I did both of those things. A state-approved hold. I have taken CPI training. I am approved. My principal takes this same student and puts him in a headlock and a chokehold and drags him. Yet nothing was said about this. No one questioned this. And these are the things that I wonder as a social studies teacher, that shouldn't the Sarasota County School Board be questioning this? Because here's the fact. They've tried for 2.5 years to find that I did something wrong, and they never could. I never violated any school board policy. I never violated any state law, but I still got fired. But I believe my principal violated school board policy with his early dismissal by erasing cell phone video, by lying under oath, by helping alter a police report. And the Sarasota County School Board knows all of this has happened, and they won't even address it. So now it's John Russo, the parent, in front of the kids saying, listen, I have 5 children. 4 of them went through Sarasota County schools. 1 of them is there now. They're not safe if this is the attitude that the Sarasota County School Board has. So in closing here, I'm going to show you the video that my principal sent out that morning to us as the staff. It's about 2 minutes, and I think he's very clear in his directions and what he says. And after I show you that video, I'll explain about who the student was that was involved that day. No names, anything like that, just his background, so you get an idea of who he is before I show you this video tomorrow, because I think a couple of perspectives people need to understand in watching the video. You can put yourself as the student who I'm detaining. You can put yourself as his parent and say to yourself, you don't like me putting your hands on him. I understand that. But also put yourself in the place of the dozens and dozens of other students who are there, and it's my job to protect them. I had to leave my 7-year-old son behind to go attend to other people's children in this community. And so to say that I did this out of malice or I did this out of anger, that's untrue. That's not what happened. You'll see I wasn't angry. I was scared. I was concerned because an unknown individual was approaching my students and they refused to stop and identify themselves. And the only time they talked to me, they cursed at me and threatened to punch me in the face. But according to the Sarasota County School Board, I need to just let them walk away into your group of students. I can't do that as a parent. I can't do that as a teacher. That's why I can't be a teacher. If you put me in this same situation again, I am going to detain the student again. Threatening a teacher with physical violence is not your exit ticket from a situation, especially when I'm the only adult there. So, I hope I was appropriate in how I spoke. I don't want to sound bitter, and if it came across that way, that is not my intent. Again, I'm passionate, but I'm going to go ahead and show you this part of the video right now. It's going to be about 2 minutes, and then you'll get an idea of what happened that day. Here we go.
Good morning, Brookside. Good morning, Brookside. A couple of very important announcements this morning. First and foremost, as you may well be aware, there was a tragedy in a Florida school with some students. Safety is the most important thing on our campus at all times, at every campus. Okay? And so we want our students to know that we take this very seriously. We have a very large group of people who work in our school about security, starting with our SRO, myself, administrators, Coach Tony, who's actually our security aide, who drives around all the time. Safety is very important. Our thoughts and our prayers go out to the families of those over in the Miami area with a horrific event over there.
And let me just pause this and say, Tony Abreu, you were the first person to show up that day. You were the only one who did your security job that day, Coach Tony. That's why we all love you.
Your safety is number one to me. That's my job and that's my passion. A couple of things I want to bring up because of that. We always want to know who's on our campus. It's very important. We have very strict guidelines in Florida and specifically in Sarasota County schools. I want to remind our students of something that we don't always think about, why we don't wear hoods. We don't wear hoods because we want to know that students are students, not somebody else. So as we came in this morning, I saw a few students with hoods. We've told students they can't have their hoods on several times this year. I'm not telling anymore. If you have a hood on, you'll have to take your hoodie off, turn it in for a parent to pick up. Hoods are not permitted on campus at all. There is zero tolerance. So I want to remind you, if you have a hood on, you'll be asked to remove that and hopefully have a shirt underneath, or we'll provide you with a t-shirt, and a parent will pick up your hoodie. Safety first. And I've told people this before, and I've told them why, and I've actually told them stories. So it's really important. Safety is very important on our campus, and that's just one of the little things that we pay attention to. We want to know who all of our students are. We want to listen to all of our students. So we appreciate the relationship that we have as a faculty.
Okay. So what you were able to see right there was my directions for the day as a teacher. I don't believe there's any ambiguity there. I think my principal is very clear that he has a zero tolerance policy for hoodies, and that if you have one, it will be confiscated and a parent will come and be asked to get that. If I'm reading that wrong, please let me know. As a parent, I mean, that's what I heard. I heard him say zero tolerance. So I'm going to segue to the future here right now. So we're going to have a zero tolerance for students in Sarasota County about wearing masks. What's going to happen when a student doesn't want to? What's going to happen when that student says they're going to spit in your face? I don't know, but you better not touch them. You better not protect yourself and the other students, because you'll get arrested and you'll get fired. And that's the safety issue here. There is no safety first. Okay, there's no safety when the first line of defense, the teachers and the classified staff, aren't allowed to protect themselves and their students and other faculty members from acts of violence. So I'm going to sum this up today with this quick thing, and then I'm going to make sure I do my push-ups today. And my push-ups will be for Kendra Carr, and I'll let you know. Okay, so tomorrow I'm going to explain to you who the student was involved, and I'm going to show you the video of the incident. But before, I'm going to just give you the background of this student so you understand when you see him tomorrow, this is the person we're talking about. Again, you can put yourself in his place as a parent, as his parent, or you can put yourself in the place of another parent whose child is on the same campus as this student. So here's what we found out about this student afterwards, because what I did find out is he was placed at the Brookside campus inappropriately by someone at the Landings. He had been expelled from his first middle school for fighting. He had been kicked out of his second middle school for threatening to stab 2 students. And he had been kicked out of removed from Oak Park, the behavior school, for his bad behavior. So here was a student who exhibited violent and bad behavior throughout his entire academic career at this point. He was told he was going to be put in the general population of Brookside Middle School, and Karen Rose, the school board member, was then executive director of middle school, said, no, this kid is too violent. He can't be placed there. And someone placed that student there anyway. They put him there that day. And my principal let him out early and unsupervised. So when you say that I'm the beginning of all this problem, that's not true. I was stuck in the middle that day. This problem was created long before John Russo ever encountered this student, because the things we need to know about this student went up to that day. That very morning, he was threatening teachers. With physical violence, he was removed from class. He told kids that day that if anybody tried taking their hood, he'd punch them in the face. This is other people's testimony. After my incident with this student, he was caught on video ripping a gold chain off a student's neck. Nothing happened. He threatened a substitute teacher by crushing a bottle in front of her and said, I'll crush your neck like that. It was written on a referral and placed in. Nothing happened. Thank you. He's been charged with SESIR since this has occurred, a form of battery against another student. He's beaten up another student since then. So this is why it's hard for me to deal with this. And let me throw just 2 more facts at you, which I think are ironic here. SRO Todd Perna, who did work for the Sarasota Police Department, at the end of the year, he quit the Sarasota Police Department, resigned, and was hired by Superintendent Todd Bowden for the Sarasota County School Board Police Department. That's a fact. I'm not going to read into that, but I find that interesting because, again, SRO Todd Perna and Matthew Gruhl were the ones who handed out the memo, the confidential memo that the DA had written about me. Officer Perna took his copy and gave it to Principal Gruhl, and they handed it out to the staff. And how do I know it was Officer Perna's copy? Because I had the original copy with his name on it, and then he whited his name out and handed it out to the staff. So these are facts. These are things I can show you. I have both of them. I can show you the police report that's been changed. I can show you that video. I'll show you the video tomorrow. And what I just want is honest feedback. I just want people to tell me if I'm being objective, tell me if I'm being subjective, tell me if I'm being a poor loser, or tell me if I think I have a case here that I have been treated unfairly, that they're not looking at this whole situation in context. The day after Parkland, one of the most violent students in Sarasota County who had been placed on our campus inappropriately, and none of us as teachers were told who he was or of his violent behavior, was let out early and unsupervised by my principal. Any reasonable request that day threatened me with physical violence, and their advice is I needed to just let him walk into your students. Because if that's what they expect of teachers, I can't do that. So thank you for listening. I have to do my 25 push-ups right now, and I have a great worship song that I would like you to hear. It's from the Casting Crowns. Okay, I love this song because I'm a nobody. You might not be able to see the push-ups, but I'm going to do them down here. Just enjoy the music. All right, my last 5 for Kendra Carr, the individual responsible for getting this story out for me in the first place. I love you, Kendra Carr. 5 for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Thank you again for sharing your morning with me. Please give me honest feedback. If you're my friends, you can be honest with me. If you're not my friend, you can be honest with me. It's okay. Tell me what you think, and I'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much. Have a great Friday, and let's keep that mental health strong. Talking, this is one of the greatest things for my mental health, being able to start the day like this. So everybody, how about this for an assignment from Mr. Russo? How about reaching out to one person from your past this weekend and saying hello to them, reconnecting with them? One of the greatest things that's happened to me as a result of this is the amount of people who have reached out and contacted me. I have been blessed with so much love, support, and generosity that it's humbling. And to me, that's been the greatest blessing of this, is that my Naugatuck family and my Sarasota family has come on strong, and it's awesome. I love growing up in a community like Naugatuck because it was a community. And I love growing up in a community like Sarasota because it is a community. And my advice to you as a 28-year teacher, coach, and advocate for your children is our schools aren't safe when violent students are allowed to dictate the terms of what happens and there's no consequences for them. Only the instructor who stopped them that day from doing whoever knows what. So God bless you and have a great day.